All right. We are live. We are live. Some volume. All right. Welcome to Johnny's Corner. Good to see you again. Today we're just going live, seeing if anyone comes on. Want to ask me a question? Welcome. You can talk about the kennyVSspenny days, JC. Or if you want to talk about movies, I'm going to be talking about movies. So ask me anything. All right. So for now, we're going to start off this movie. Robert Redford as Jeremiah Johnson. Okay, one more time. Sidney Pollack film. Pollack. And this was I guess, one of the last great westerns, in my opinion. Even had a nice overture and um, really good music, great sound. Um, this movie is pretty much a survival tale um, of a man going out to the last frontier, I believe, in search of gold or fur or pelts or whatever he can find, and he's going to live out there. He's decided. He's got his Remington rifle, and he finds it on some frozen dead body. He starts off with like a smaller caliber, and then he gets the Remington and finds it off some poor soul that froze up in the mountains. So it's a little stern warning at the beginning, and he comes across a native man on a horse and seems innocent enough. And then he moves on and he finds this homestead, middle of nowhere in the mountains, and finds a crying woman, a couple of dead bodies everywhere. This woman is unconsolable, and he decides, hey, we need to bury them. So helps her bury them. It's all children mostly. It's very sad, and you find out that there's certain tribes that aren't so nice. So it's a very rugged land. If you've watched The Revenant, you understand what I'm talking about. And eventually he befriends this crazy old bear hunter who's living out there in the boonies. And he teaches him how to hunt for bear claw. And so they go hunting, and he's like, I'll get him for you. You take him out, I'll clean him. And so he sends a bear right into the little cottage that he has, and it's quite a scene. So they end up having some nice pelts, nice and warm for the winter that's coming around the corner. A couple other scenes. I won't go through the whole movie, but he meets like some character, and he's just underground. He's been left there by some tribe, and he's just sitting there. I think there's an ant farm near him, maybe not, but his head is just above the land. He's been buried, and he's not too sure, or Jeremiah Johnson's not too sure if he wants to let him out. Maybe he's in there for a reason. But eventually, he befriends him, I guess. They go on their way. There's a lot of revenge in this. There's a lot of murder. He gets in trouble. Jeremiah Johnson gets in trouble with a certain tribe, and they keep sending another mercenary after him over and over. It's pretty crazy, but I won't tell anything more. Just check out Jeremiah Johnson if you haven't seen it. And even if you have seen it, give it a rewatch. Classic, in my opinion. And 1972, I believe it came out. That was a good one. Or no. I'm not sure. It's either 72 or 85. But I think it's 72. Jeremiah Johnson. Jeremiah Johnson. All right. All right. So, Mandy. Wow. This is probably one of the most insane horror movies ever made. Um, Even says on the case, I don't know why. I wish I had a better copy of this, but it says 98% certified fresh Rotten Tomatoes. If that means anything to you. But, anyways, the guy who did this film is pretty much an artist, in my opinion. Super artist. This is expert filmmaking, masterful, really. And Nicolas Cage is the star. And a little unknown fact: Nicolas Cage actually was casted for the role of Jeremiah. That's funny. The guy's Jeremiah in this movie too, and he's like a cult leader. I forget his full name, Jebediah or something. And he read the script. Nick Cage read the script, and he said, "You know what? I want to play the lead. This is badass." And the director was like, his name's Panos Cosmatos, and he's the son of Peter Cosmatos, who did movies like Leviathan. That's all I can think of at the top of my head. And so Panos Cosmatos reluctantly agreed to give him the lead part. So Nicolas Cage. First of all, this movie starts off with the most amazing cinematography, special effects, psychedelic feel. Music is amazing. I forget the band. I forget their name, but it's really good stuff. There's a lot of there's a composer, and I think it was his last film. Forget his name, but maybe it'll come to me. He died doing this score, and I mean he had cancer at the time, and I think it's even more masterful than the whole movie process. This score is beautiful beyond words, and the photography was amazing, and really just from start to finish artistic for sure. Not your everyday horror film, and I believe it didn't do that well, but it had a pretty good budget, and I don't think it made its budget back, but it doesn't matter. Like this will be a cult classic forever. It's just beautiful filmmaking, and it's another revenge tale, but this is very gritty. And there's some, so there's this cult, and they're pretty sadistic, and they use very strong LSD and psychedelic drugs to coerce their, I guess, employees or their cult members, and so they see this girl, and it turns out to be Nick Cage's wife or girlfriend, longtime girlfriend, and the main cult leader, Jebediah or Jeremiah, he wants her. So whatever he wants, he gets. He's a very sadistic guy, you find out. So they decide to hire some trippy Norseman type demons. Yeah, trust me, it's creepy. So these guys are cannibals. They are drug addicts. They're sadistic, masochistic. Anything bad you can think of, they do, and they're pretty scary. It's quite frightening. So they hire these guys with a pint of blood. The guy drinks a pint of blood, and they hire them to kidnap Nick Cage and the woman. And then you know what? This movie's so good. I'll just tell you that it's a horrific story, and there's a great revenge tale. And it's not for the squeamish because, especially at the very end, there's some really disturbing scenes. But it's done really well, in my opinion. And I think this is probably one of the best horror movies ever made of all time. And yeah, it's got like a psychosexual feel to it for sure, which is weird, but it's not too creepy that you get turned off. I mean, depends your interest, but I normally don't like gore movies at all. It's not my thing. I like psychological horror, but this had a bit of both. It had great soundtrack. It had crazy timepiece. It's in the 80s, and they filmed it out in like Norway or somewhere, like or in like Sweden mountains or something, somewhere cool. But yeah, Panos Cosmatos knocked it out of the park. Mandy, beautiful film. I guess it's your interpretation of beautiful, but I thought it was beautiful. So check that one out. Mandy, Nick Cage. We'll go way off course here. All right. Kathy Bates, Martin Sheen, Emilio Estevez, The War at Home. Also directed by Emilio Estevez. People didn't know he's actually a pretty good director, and he does a lot of dramatic stuff. I think that's why he kind of fell off the map. He decided he wanted to get more in making films instead of starring in them. He was a big hit in the 80s, as we know, with films like Young Guns and Free Jack, which I really love. Lots of movies like that. And The War at Home, powerful film. Totally recommend it, obviously. If I'm talking about it, usually I recommend it. I'm sure I'll talk about some horrible films one day. But it's a pretty intense drama, and it's pretty much about a son that was forced to go to Vietnam. He didn't want to go. Um, Everyone thought it would make their son stronger. They thought it was their duty, and you know, we find out later in life that Vietnam War was one big fuck up after another, and so he came back pretty traumatized, changed, wasn't the same, and I think he held a lot of resentment towards his dad for not. His dad could have bailed him out, could have sent him to Canada, but you know, sometimes you got to go to war, man. You got to pay your part, but I guess came back changed, and he was never the same as a lot of people who came back from any war, and so he's trying to come back home and live at home and work with his family again and be with his family, but it's too much stress, stressing everyone out. And also they're not being nice to him, and everyone's uptight, and it's this whole web of drama. And I really like the humanity in it, and it definitely brought me to some tears a couple times. So it's kind of cool to watch a movie just about more about people and not just some big budget thing. It's more about the story and the feeling and the acting. Martin Sheen killed it. Kathy Bates, she's amazing, and Emilio was great too. And this young lady, Kimberly Williams, probably much older nowadays, but she was great as well. So yeah, check out this one. Definitely Oscar worthy in my opinion. The War at Home. All right, I'll do one more. So this one, it's called The Cell. Jennifer Lopez actually, and you know what? Vince Vaughn's in it as well. And I don't know. I liked her '90s movies. She was in a bunch of cheesy '90s movies, Anaconda, some other dramas and romantic comedies and stuff. And I thought she was an alright actress back in the day. I haven't really seen her do anything that. I mean, I don't really watch a lot of new movies these days, but um, I don't know. I was a fan of her. Now I'm not a fan of her. There's something about her. She annoys me. My personal preference. But The Cell was amazing. Creepy. Kind of has a Silence of the Lambs feel for sure. Definitely very deep thriller, psychological thriller, creepy aspects, and kind of had that, yeah, like I said, Silence of the Lambs. Thanks for the comment. Thanks, man. Trying to do the reviews. I'm gonna keep it up. Hopefully, we'll get better and bigger. So, yeah, Jennifer Lopez. Vince Vaughn is like the detective. Um, Jennifer Lopez is pretty much a scientist. She's working on very revolutionary stuff. It's like a big, I guess, government funded organization that tries to. It's essentially therapy. It's so they go into your mind. So if you're comatose or you're somewhere else or you're a vegetable, they try to go into your mind and get information to maybe help you snap out of it or come back to us, kind of thing, or maybe just even give them peace. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So, but Vince Vaughn had a serial killer that he caught that became comatose when they caught him, right? So they had to think of a way to try and save this girl that they have videotapes of her on a timer systematically being killed slowly. So I won't tell you what it is, but it's pretty interesting. And they tried this idea that maybe they can go into the serial killer's mind. And mind you, when you go into a mind, there can be reproductions in this theory, right? In this movie, it's science fiction. And it's very dangerous to go into a serial killer's, let alone just a child's mind. A serial killer, who knows? It could be a web of despair. So that's what it really is. And I thought it was super cool, suspenseful, very edge of your seat, interesting. Definitely not going to fall asleep watching this the first time. Um, Maybe the graphics aren't as good as today's standards, but I thought it was awesome, especially if you watch on a VHS, you can't see anything. Nice grain movie feel. But yeah, definitely check out The Cell. Super cool, trippy. Um, I guess there was a theme of tonight with the masochist stuff, but there is a scene with a world record involving piercings, so I'll tell you that much. So go check out The Cell. All right. And thanks, Kyle. I'll keep doing my movie reviews. See, maybe do one more. We'll see. See how I'm feeling. Let me see. What do we got here? Let's get. Let's switch it up again. I just saw it. Where'd it go? There it is. Yeah, I've never done an anime, I don't think. So this is definitely my favorite anime. It's a Miyazaki film. I don't know how to pronounce his first name. Hayao Miyazaki or Ayo. And he does so much good work. All his movies take years to make. They're so artistic. He does all the drawings himself. It's beautiful artwork. Some of them come from like the 80s and it's exquisite. A couple movies that I love. Trying to think of some. Spirited Away. This one's called Princess Mononoke. Okay. And this movie was so spiritual to me. I remember I tried watching it with a friend and he's like, "We gotta turn this off." And then after I was hanging out with him, this was years ago. I went back home and I popped it in and just had a joint and started watching it, and wow, it was super spiritual. Again, I'm all about the music. I'm all about the movie score, and they really went all out with this. And it's funny because he gets like all the best. It's a huge production, and he gets all the best voice actors for. It's a Japanese film, right? Japanese director and artist. So he gets like all the best Hollywood actors to voice the characters in the film for the English fans. And I'm sure all the Japanese are at the top of their class too, who do their original voices. So in this movie, the voices we have Gillian Anderson, Billy Crudup, Claire Danes, Minnie Driver, Jada Pinkett Smith, Billy Bob Thornton, which is amazing. So huge cast. And this movie is pretty much like, it's got like a feel like Star Wars. It's about the earth and the force of the world. And there's like gods, they're like animal gods, and then they can become demonic demons. And especially where they head into into the beginning of the film, they head off into this land filled with gods. And there's like warthog gods, and there's wolf gods, and monkey gods, and all sorts of animals that rule the forest. And then there's also this forest spirit, and the forest spirit pretty much controls the earth and the force, as you would call it, right? So, beginning of this film, it's in a strange, far off, secret place with an ancient tribe, and their prince is on watch, and he sees something strange in the forest and tells one of the lookouts to run for cover and call for help. Um, the demon, as they think it is, starts running after some school children. So the prince bravely uh, takes him out after warning him, and he yells a curse at them. And the demon animal, whatever it is, it's got tentacles and stuff. It's actually touched him and burned him, so he got a mark. Finds out later from the elder woman that he will eventually die from this wound. So he's banished for some reason I can't understand. It's tradition, I guess, but he has to wander the lands and try and figure out what it means to be touched by this demon. So he leaves his whole family behind, his little sister, and everything he knows, everything he grew up, and he goes on his journey. He slowly realizes that by fighting some or liberating some nearby farmers from evil samurai, pillaging them, he has some demon strength. He shoots a bow and arrow, and I'll tell you, it's pretty cool. So he's got some kind of power on his arm from this mark, but it's not very controllable, and it hurts. So eventually, decides to go where he was told from the elder woman that he needs to go find the forest spirit, and maybe it'll cure him, and maybe find a new way unclouded by hate and judgment, which was super cool, I thought. And on his journey, he helps many people, and he tries to protect both sides, and he's very neutral. But the humans' time is coming, and the gods' time is ending. So there are some battles, samurais, swords, demons, gods. Great voice, great cast, most beautiful animation you'll ever see in any films. Miyazaki's the best, in my opinion. And just a great film. Princess Mononoke, beautiful film. Check out anything he does. There's Howl's Flying Castle, Castle in the Sky. There's a bunch more. And Nausicaa, Valley of the Wind, one of my favorites. So check out Hayao Miyazaki. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. And check out Princess Mononoke. If you're ever feeling sad or need meaning, this will be a nice change and nice relax. Anyways, got 2 people watching. Really appreciate it. It's a good 24 minutes. We'll do some more reviews later. And you guys have a good day. Ciao for now. Peace. End stream.